and this is what I have for the season. This is a set of 4 R888Rs. They're 225 45 15s. It's the only brand new like race tire I've ever had. It's not really a race tire, it's a semi-slick, but you know what I mean. It's the only like brand new like really sticky tire I've ever had, and these are really sticky. You guys have seen them around, you guys have probably used them. I've never used them, but I know quite a bit about them. I've seen how good they are. The only other really sticky tire I've ever run was a used old set of Hankook RS4s, which I ran last year and the year before, which did pretty good, but I'm really excited to see how these do. Now, this is really wide for the car, but once you go to a really wide tire on a really lightweight car for handling, it's hard to go back. I don't want to go back. I could run a 205 and get away with it, and that's what most people run on these cars, and it's more than effective. But after running a 225, I don't want to go back. I don't want to experience the 205s. I don't want to switch around. I like this 225, and I'm really excited to see what the R888s will do. So we're gonna go mount that up and go get the tubing.
Road runner with the numbers, got a bag, prove it. I ain't posted, I ain't moving on the internet. I just took a gram or two, these mushrooms got me past moving. Bad student, I ain't tripping cause the bag moving. Bag talking, I can get you muted like a mag user. Macintosh with the jumper, that's black top. Shawty from Chicago, I'm like Jordan, give me laptop. Too much on my mind, I be stressing in a bad spot. Smoking, looking in the mirror, posted in the backdrop. Timberland for money with the water stripe. Screen door, I can make it steam if I'm that hot. But I ain't like that right now, I got a matchstick in the background, it's the basket. Shells in my homie crib like it was a gas stop. 87 Reggie weigh my iPhone like a gasket. And I got this Betty, she do bad shit. From the underground, call me Patrick. Grew up, I knew that I was a star. Living asterisks, pull a slide on the competition, do a hat trick. Stephen Curry on a bitch, all I do is shoot. Watch it going from the half like a hula hoop. Drop it in like karma, bring it back up, I go through the roof. In the foreign whips, presidential with the bulletproof. Watch on me, all the press, I maneuver through. Real celebrities don't post, they go through the hoop. Real players watch the game, they look at me too. Just like real killers don't tweet, I just move mute. I'm the coldest Minnesotan and I mean that. Terror squad, when I pop out everybody lean back. Take the sum, the promoter number green cash. 2 eyes, I get that divided, call it mean math. Mathematical, I don't do theatrical. Swear to God on OG Dizzy P, I bring the team back. Everything I do, I put 100 and I mean that. Like a TV, if I push a button, they on screen back. Shawty on me from the shot, do a polo ride. Motorsport, polo horse, walk on water glide. Look me in my eyes, when she set me like a freeze tag. I'm a Gemini, fucking with me, you get team tag. I be in the port, you be in the dork. Riding light, every time you see me, it's a court. I'm not human, I was manufactured poor. Mama hustling, getting high, she went and stole me off a stork. I just counted up $100 sitting on the floor. Strip a bitch on me, made me mad, I sent her to the store. Fucking whore, child to fuck me over, you get fucked up that for short. KT with me, Splash Brothers to the fort. Over time, I just smoked a quarter, no score with a 4. Stephen Curry on a bitch, all I do is shoot. Watch it going from the half like a hula hoop. Drop it in like karma, bring it back up, I go through the roof. In the foreign whips, presidential with the bulletproof. Watch on me, all the press, I maneuver through. Real celebrities don't post, they go through the roof. Real players watch the game, they look at me too. Just like real killers don't tweet, I just move mute.
greased the rollers on here just so they spin more freely. I just took the pins out and I just put grease on the inside to make sure that they spin easier when I'm pressing it up. But found the center of my pipe, but I'm not exactly sure the math on how to make sure I maximize every piece of this tube, because I'm not sure where, like when I bend it, where exactly the outside edge is going to be. So I think I'm just going to like guesstimate the first bend and then replicate it on the other side and kind of see. I'm going to make a mark where I think my first bend should land, where I'm going to put my center line. So if my pipe has to stick out 11 inches, or can't stick out any more than 11 inches, I should say, then I'm guessing if the center of my bend, there's going to be like maybe an inch and a half, 2 inches beyond that. So I'm going to put my mark at like, I'm going to try 9 1/4 for the center of my shoe. And we're just going to try that and see how it works. Plan is I have tension on it now. I might have to set it down again because this is harder than I thought it would be. It's trying to move the whole thing, but I have a lot of tension on it now, so I might just set the bender on its back now, or try and hold it and at least start to get the bend going. So I'm not sure how easy it is to see on camera here, but it's kind of wanting to just like sandwich or like mushroom the pipe. Alright, so this is pretty embarrassing, but learn from my mistakes. As you can see what happened here, I just kept bending it and eventually it just crushed the pipe between the shoe and the roller. And I think what you're supposed to do now, after learning that, I even moved the shoe up to see like what it would look like, and it looked like it would be okay. It didn't look like it was gonna like crush it or anything, so, but I just wasn't paying good enough attention, so lesson learned. Man, we can't get no 90-degree bend with this thing to save our life. So what I did with this one is I had the pins in the second to smallest holes, and I went up and it was looking fine, and then I moved out to these holes and it was looking great. And then I look at the top, and the problem was when it made the first part of the bend, is it kind of like almost flattens the pipe a little bit. And then when I moved the pins and started doing it, it just like took that kink and just folded the pipe in half, and then just started coming out the top of the bender. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm gonna do some research and figure out like what I'm doing wrong with this thing, because clearly that's not how you use it. So I think for now what I'm gonna do is instead of using the bender, I'm literally just gonna cut sections of pipe to come out to here, and then have a bar, and then just weld a bar between them, and then figure out what's going to go underneath for like the radiator support and stuff. Alright, so I just got the frame horns welded on. They're not completely welded on yet, but they're like heavily tacked up. Same with this one. Alright, it's a new day. I've done a little bit of research, and I think I've found a solution to all my problems, but we're not out of the woods yet. I'm going to talk to you guys about what we're going to do for the day, and we'll see what happens. So you guys already saw how these tubes basically folded in half. A couple solutions to that. Number one, even though I was using a 1.5 inch shoe on this 1 5/8 inch tubing, that wasn't enough to like take up that gap. And I'll show you what I mean by this right here. Here's the 1.5 inch shoe, and give me a second. Here's how it fits in the 1/5/8 inch tube. There's still play. So what that means is when you go to like press it up, it kind of like folds the tube in half. So what I need to do is figure out a tubing size that will fit snugly inside one of my shoes, so that way it holds it tight. The other thing that I found when I was doing research that you can do is you pack the tube like really tight full of sand. That way it doesn't really allow the tube to collapse as easily. And we're back in the garage. I got the tires mounted up. Those are inside. I got all my tubing that I needed. Since I've been home, I've gotten the torque mounts on and their brackets. My sand that I got, and then I have the tubing. I'm actually using it to, I'm actually using a funnel. I'm slowly filling the tube, and then what I'll do is I'll take this and just kind of tap it. I'll take that and just kind of tap it to fill the tubing and make sure it's like nice and packed. So first go around, a little bit of kinking, but we kind of stopped it before it could get any worse. But I'm gonna just run with this, maybe put a gusset there to make it stronger, and then I'm gonna make my next bend, and I have my level here to make sure there's no dog legging. The sand seems to be helping, and as well as the fact that we're using the 1/2 inch die on the 3/4 inch tubing. That kinked more than I'd like it to, and I hope it doesn't do that on this one, but this is all we got. I think I probably should have packed it a little bit tighter with sand, but I think it's good enough. I think since I bent that, it should be a little bit tighter. It still needs to bend another probably 5-10 degrees. We're getting close, but we're still not quite like 100% there yet. If anything, I'd rather redo it a whole bunch of times and keep bending it more and more and more and more and more than go too far and either the piece is done for or trying to figure out how to remove angle. I'm gonna just give it a little bit, call it good. Still not quite there, and it's really frustrating me, but I think the answer is to actually put, what I need to do is put more of a bend in this first bend. We'll see. You can have an angle, but when you, at least with this, when I bend it, it's got an angle to it, but when you release tension on the jack, it actually snaps back a little bit. So don't just create an angle, figure it out, call it good, and then release it, because when it releases, it's actually gonna like straighten out a little bit. So you gotta think ahead a little bit. It's hard to see, but this is kind of what I got here. So it meets up exactly where I want it to on that gusset, or on that plate there, and then comes along behind the headlights. That's about as close as I can get it for y'all while holding it. So as you can see, it's straight along the back of the core support. It goes along behind the headlights here, and then it goes back to that bracket there. Pretty much have all 4 of my bends. I got the bend there, and then you can see this side's like way too long, so I'm gonna basically have to hold it up where I think it would be, and just kind of like, I'm gonna cut it like a little extra long, and then I can just keep like massaging pieces off and just kind of doing it. And then on the back side of this headlight bracket, I'm gonna notch it so I can get this back in there so I can weld it up. And then before I cut this front piece off, I'm gonna figure out my headlight tabs. I'm just gonna take one of the metal coupons that my friend got me and make sure they're like over the holes where the headlight screws go, and then mark them, drill them, and then I can cut this piece off. And then what I'm also got to do is clean the paint off of here, this inner fender structure, because I'm going to make a gusset between here and here. All right, everyone, welcome back to another day of work. So I got the frame horns fully welded up. I put a fish mouth on them just with the angle grinder. I didn't use any kind of tool. And then I don't know if I've shown you guys, but we basically have the front plates all welded up. I couldn't get on the underside, but just because of the angle, but we basically got all as far around as we can get. We got this whole front side, and then the top side and down there, and then the center of these 2 holes. And then we got this front bar done. This upper core support is still on here while I'm making the headlight tabs, and that's what I wanted to show you guys. Is I'm basically using the upper core support as a template for my headlight tabs until so I can get these made, and then I can cut the upper core support off. So basically what I'm doing is, I'll show you on this one, I have 3 of the 4 done, and then there's also a tab in the front here, basically what would be this one right here, that I still need to make. But with these, what I'm doing, I take a tab of metal, it's 1 inch wide, I drill a hole and I tighten it down with the like where the headlight bracket is, or where the tab is, and then basically you look over where your pipe is, so the tab comes out and it would go down. But to show you guys how I did it, I undid this, and then take this over here and put on my, we're gonna use the wood block, replace this with different chuck, and then basically what I'm gonna do is take the screw out, and what you would do after you've made your mark is you take a drywall screw the tab down, and then you can use the block and a hammer to like create your edge, which is what I did here. And then I have a perfect angle, and you're not just trying to like bend it over like this, and then you just weld it up, and then you can take your screws out, cut your core support off, and you're good to go. This is basically all I know to do, because there's not, when I was trying to do research on how to build a front end like this, it was really hard to find like how to like mount your headlights. So this is the best I can come up with. Otherwise I would have had this upper core support cut off already. The only thing I really don't like about this that makes me really nervous is these tabs aren't like super strong, and so like if I hit a deer or something and it like bends the headlight tabs and it shoves the headlight in, I now have like, I mean, I can kind of like put the headlight in the front of the car and guess where it's gonna be and it's supposed to be angled, but like I don't really have a way of like recreating this unless I like go get another front end off a car and weld it back on, recreate the tabs, or keep this front end, which I really don't want to do because I already have enough parts lying around as it is. So what I'm trying to say is like, this is, I hope this doesn't, nothing ever happens to this, because I don't, if you guys know any like tricks or anything, let me know, but as far as I'm concerned, it's like, I don't know, or I gotta take like, find the angles on everything and like write it down. I don't know, like this is gonna be really tricky if anything happens to this front end, because it's like, there's gotta be a way though to like recreate this, because I mean, all the Formula Drift guys have, or drift guys have like tube front ends, and they all have like, you know, they show up to every event with the car just, you know, perfect basically, looking how it would be from the factory, minus like on the outside at least. So there's got to be a way to like put this all, create a jig of some kind or a template and recreate this all, but basically this is my approach to it.